Excellent. So I think we'll get started. Good afternoon. My name is Trevor Butcher. I'm the Career Connections Program Manager at the Insurance Institute of Canada. So I've been with the Institute for the last 5 years working with the Career Connections Program. And I'm really excited to say that when we have a panel like this come together, it's really heartening to hear how they talk about the industry, what they like about it, what their career path has offered them, and some of the challenges and rewards that come with working in our sector. So some of you may be familiar with other education bodies like CPA, so the Accountants Association, or the Ontario College of Teachers, or you may be familiar with something like the Nurses Association. They offer professional development and continuing education to their members, and in our case, we offer designation. We've been doing that since 1899. That insurance has actually got a 500-year history. So there's banking, there's wealth management and investment, and then there's insurance. The other two couldn't exist unless insurance was in place. I'm going to turn things over to our panelists now. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their backgrounds, how they got their start in the sector, as well share with you a little bit about themselves and what drew them to the insurance industry. So Linda, I'll start things off with you.
Hi, my name is Linda Colgan. I started off in the insurance industry, well, not 500 years ago, but Moby Dick was a minnow, so a long time ago. I originally came out of school, wanted a job that I didn't have to work weekends. So started off in a mailroom of a large alpha house, and I was very intrigued with all the different departments. We had loss control, we had marine, aviation, commercial, small risk development. And as I moved along my career, I just thought, this is really interesting. So I spent a lot of time learning about the different avenues within the organization. And I thought this is something that I could see myself doing in a long term. So I ended up writing my REBO license to sell insurance. I went up and worked with 2 individuals who sold general commercial insurance, and I learned a lot from them. After a few years, it became a little bit mundane to me as I wanted to move on and I wanted to specialize. I realized it was either going to be in a claims arena or within transportation. So I moved on to a different firm and just kind of moved my way from there. Our industry is so vast. There is so many avenues that you can go into, and I've moved on throughout the decades in mainly focusing in transportation, but dabbling still in small commercial.
Hi, my name is Karen Jarvis-Adams. I actually am a graduate of York University, Vanier College, a few years back. When I graduated, I thought that I wanted to go to law school, and I realized after being in school for a while, I kind of wanted to get on with my life. So I decided not to go to law school, and at the time I thought I'd get in with the government and do either planning or something with the government. Nobody was hiring. So I put my resume out there, and Bel Air Insurance picked me up. And I started off as a sales agent, and I liked it, but I found most of the time I was writing policies and actually underwriting the policies. So when my business went through, they really didn't have too much work to do, and I found out, okay, maybe I don't want to do sales. Maybe I kind of want to get into underwriting and risk management. So I kind of steered myself that way. I left Bel Air after a couple of years and went to the personal insurance company. And at the personal, I was able to expand my knowledge in terms of the products that they offered. Bel Air kind of strictly sold home and auto insurance where I worked. And I spent a little time at the personal and got my way into underwriting and realized that I kind of liked being in underwriting and managing risk and understanding the policies and the wording and getting to liaise with the claims division as well. After I left the personal, I went to Allstate Insurance. I am with Allstate Insurance now and have been for the last 14 years. I started off in their underwriting department and went on to risk management, which is where I actually kind of was channeling myself. And I've been with risk management now for the last 6 years or so.
My name is Pam Pabla. I work with Desjardins. As Karen mentioned, she was with Personal 14 years ago. So I started with Desjardins 13 years ago. Personal and service insurance both are part of Desjardins. So how I started, I was looking for a job, and I was going through all these agencies, and they were hiring for, they were changing their system, and then I was on a contract with the agency, and that time personal insurance was hiring insurance agents where you talk to clients call to get quotes, we issue policies. So basically that was a perfect opportunity for me to apply for that job, even though knowing that I'm under the contract, so I still applied, and I was lucky enough. I was the first one and the only one out of that group got hired full-time with the company. And since I worked as an insurance agent for about 3 years, and from first day I knew that I wanted to go to accident benefit, handle injury claims.
Hi, my name is Diana Caldi, and like many members on the panel here, I've been in the insurance industry for a very long time as well. I started off in retail when I graduated from university. I knew nothing about insurance. All I knew was that my dad paid it, and that was it. I drove the car and everybody was fine. A friend of mine said, hey, Allstate's hiring. Why don't you apply for a claims adjuster's position? So I handed my application in, and that's where I actually started, was at Allstate as an adjuster. I did that for a number of years and loved it. Then I made a move over to CIBC Insurance, which was just launching at that time. And that's one thing you're going to find about the insurance industry. It's large, but it's not. It's very incestuous, as my husband says. Everybody ends up working together again. Everybody ends up buying each other out. Pam and I actually worked together years ago. So I was with CIBC Insurance. I was actually the first adjuster that they hired there. And then CIBC purchased the personal, and the two companies merged together. And then Desjardins bought the company. So as my role there as an adjuster, did that for a number of years, and then I moved into quality assurance. So I worked with all of the staff, listening to the phone calls, auditing the files, making sure there was consistency right across the board and nationally as well. From there, I moved into training, and I trained for a number of years, taught the new hires what to do when an insured would phone a claim in, how to set the claim up, how to process the coverages, things like that. Absolutely loved that. Loved dealing with people, working with people. And from the training role, part of my role was to teach about new system implementations, things like that. So I used to sit down over where the business analysts were, and I said, listen, if I'm going to be training about this new system launch, I want to understand what I'm talking about. Can I, sit down, be involved with the testing in that? So that's how I eventually became a business analyst, and I did that for a number of years as well. Who better to, understand what's going on the claims floor than somebody who was actually frontline and did the role for a number of years. So I was a BA for a number of years, and from there I moved into HR, human resources, and now I'm actually recruiting for all the roles that I've handled in the past. And I've been in HR for 8 years now, and absolutely loving it.
My name's James King. I work for Zurich Insurance Company, a Swiss company. There's kind of two categories of people who get into insurance. You know somebody, or like me, fall into it. It wasn't planned. I needed a job. I got out of university and I needed to work. And I got a job as an underwriting assistant. I had no idea what that was. Not a clue. I quickly learned, of course, when you put millions of dollars of your company's money up, they kind of make sure you know what you're doing. So there's a lot of training programs that go on, which was very helpful to me. I made an underwriter shortly after that in the energy sector. I moved to Toronto to work for Zurich. I stayed in the energy sector there as a property underwriter. I must have ADD or something, because after that I jumped all over the place. I went into brokering for a while for a large brokerage here. I decided that's not what I wanted to do. So I returned to Zurich, and there I did project management. I also did corporate governance. I also was part of global training programs. I was also ended up being the manager of business analytics for Global Corporate, which is probably one of the most enjoyable jobs I had at that time. I was only in insurance 15 years up to now. I think it was insurance about 6 years when that happened. So when you think about all the information you're gathering, what you did, and then you're actually providing input to your CEO saying, we should head this direction, it makes you feel good. So I jumped again, so now I'm Director of Transportation for Global Corporate, which basically means I run a team of underwriters who insure anything in the transportation sector except aviation. We don't do aviation. We deal with companies that are 300 million revenues or up. They may have global operations, or they have what we call alternative risk solutions. So on a daily basis, I have to deal with my underwriting team, with brokers, with claims, with reinsurance people, with finance people, with banking people. That's every day. So no day have I ever woken up in the insurance sector and go, I don't want to go to work today. It's a very social industry. Communication is very important. You have to be able to communicate, your soft skills. If you have good soft skills, you can do very, very well in insurance. It doesn't actually matter what you study, unless you want to be an actuary or engineering divisions, which we have. It doesn't actually matter, because it's not about what you learned in school as far as your discipline. It's about you.
If you could talk a little bit about the designations that you hold, as well as what your learning journey has looked like in the sector.
For myself personally, on the brokerage side, in order to deal with the public, we have to be licensed. So there's a REBO, or Registered Insurance Brokers of Ontario, and we're governed by a body to make sure that we have countless hours, well, about 8 hours minimum per year of continuing education. There's also different accreditations that we can achieve, from being customer service into the certified insurance brokerage. There's a CIP. There's multitude of designations. As far as the education, your employer, whether you're on the insurance company or brokerage side, they always encourage education. It is nonstop. You may have to pay for some courses, and upon proving that you have successfully passed the course, the brokerages or the companies or the adjustment.
Because I went into the insurance industry as an agent, I had to get my license to sell insurance, and that was my OTL. It's the other than life. So I sold everything other than life insurance. And when I went into underwriting and risk management, I kind of channeled my education towards those types of fields. So I'm still working on my CIP. I have 3 courses left. But in the interim, I actually had taken some other courses. So I have my CRM designation, so I'm a certified risk manager, because that's really where my interests lie. And I've also taken additional certifications outside of insurance, but related to training and education and development. So there's various organizations that you can get that type of certification through. So right now I'm working on finishing my CIP, and probably that won't be the end of it, but the good thing about it is, as a manager within the company, I actually don't have to fork out any money out of my pocket. I have an expense account, so all of my education gets paid through my expense account, and Allstate takes care of it as long as I keep passing, so that's great.
There's also applied streams, so you're able to specialize in your area of interest, so whether that be on the broker side, the underwriting, or claims, and you'll find that there are courses that relate to the other roles within those streams. And then you also have opportunities to take elective courses, again, to help you kind of specialize in your areas of interest at that time.
I'm a lifelong learner, so even though I'm teaching, I'm also taking some courses. I'm doing my advanced CIP courses now, and plus I am currently working towards my CRM, which is Canadian Risk Management, through UFT at UTM campus. So I think I enjoy learning and teaching and also working.
Entering into the insurance industry, you don't necessarily have to have certain types of designations or licensing depending on the area that you'd like to get into. Claims, for instance, we're looking for good customer service skills. I too have taken my CIP, but when I was in claims, I was also taking other courses such as vocational rehab, courses pertaining to claims per se, because it was an area of interest I wanted to learn a little more. Now I moved over into the CHRP, which is more along the lines of HR, where I am now. But it is something that all insurance companies do encourage that continuous learning. Our company will pay for courses as well. Once you've passed, then you'll be reimbursed. And as you'd indicated earlier, when I'm looking at a resume, I'm not necessarily concerned as to the degree that you've obtained, unless you're going into something such as the actuarial sciences, something specific like that. I mean, I finished with a degree in child psychology, and here I am now. What I'm looking for is that good fit. I'm listening to you as an individual, and I want to know, can I work with you? I can teach you about the policy. I can teach you about the wordings. What I can't teach you is what comes from within. Either you have it or you don't. Are you going to be a good fit within this department, within this company, or not? And that's what we're looking for.
Ongoing training within the organization is huge. Every organization really believes heavily in not only teaching you something, but maintaining those skills. So I've done numerous sales training, management course training, actual specific product training, risk type cogeneration stations or boiling machinery. So there's a lot of training that the companies will provide, and then having your designations is, as I said, it's not necessary, but it's a good signal. You're interested. You're actually committed to trying to do something in the insurance sector. So I think it's always advisable if you can, and since most companies do pay for them, take advantage of it, do them. Some people, when I started, I think I wrote like 2 at a time, so I did it for 6 in a year or whatever it was. And but then business sometimes gets in the way. But yeah, take advantage of everything they're willing to offer you. You may learn it at one organization and it's not applicable somewhere else. But you'd be surprised how companies change. Companies change all the time. Mergers, new business decisions to go into new lines, and all of a sudden your skill where you were in the organization was here, all of a sudden you just got bumped up because you know something someone else doesn't. Take advantage of every single thing they want to give you.
Let's talk about networking. How does that play a role in the sector? How does that play a role in your careers? And how could that play a role for somebody who's looking to connect to the industry?
You're trying to find a balance of professionalism and friendship, because people need to trust you, and when you say you're going to do something and you stick to it, they know what your capabilities are. So when I do business, my time's not being wasted because the broker knows exactly what I'm going to do. They know exactly how I'm going to answer the questions because they're aware of how I do business. And that kind of starts developing then beyond just, calling each other on the phone. We'll go have a coffee or a drink or whatever, and you start expanding into to actual friendships. And I get probably more calls from people I know in the industry saying, hey, we're looking for people, rather than a headhunter or something else. People's word about your capabilities is very important, because that's pretty much how most people move around, is by who you know and how they speak about you. There's lots of insurance events. I mean, there's an event that's held every month. It's called a broker bash. You don't have to be insurance. They hold it at different bars. I think it's Maison was the last place. There's 200-300 people in the insurance sector in Toronto that are down there once a month. I mean, don't go tugging on their sleeve and say, hey, I want a job, but talk to them. And that's about, you talk about anything, sports, your travel, whatever it is, and they get to know you as a person. And then it happens and they say, listen, I'm looking for a job in insurance, what do you do? Not everyone there is hiring in the capacity, but there are managers there are people in different parts of an organization. And if they like you as a person and they see who you are as a person, they do remember. And so when an opening happens and you see it online, apply for it. But ask from the business card. You got their email. Send them an email. Say, listen, it may not be your area, but I just applied for a job in your company. If there's anything you do, because that's usually HR will vet all your applications out, and we only see who they've chosen for us to see. But so sometimes you get through that process. So you might as well get through that first process and get onto the interview process, where you actually may shine better than what you look on a piece of paper. A lot of companies actually have in-house training programs specifically for university graduates. We have one. It's an underwriting training program. If you were to start right out of university, you probably start as an underwriting assistant. If you go through the training program, you come right in as an underwriter. So look for those postings and apply for them. They have a criteria. Go on the website, look up contacts, look up HR, phone them. Don't be shy. You're looking for a job, so go for it. And ask them, when's your next training program session? When, can I apply? What's the criteria? Be personable, be nice. They're trying to enjoy themselves too when they're out having a drink, but nothing's stopping you, because they all went through it. We all went through. We all had the first interview. We all had the next interview to get bumped up. We've all been through it, so we're somewhat compassionate.
Today everything is done online. So how do you make yourself stand out? Networking is one of the ways. If you know somebody who works at the company that you're looking to apply to, talk to them and ask them, can I use you as a referral? A lot of companies will ask on the application itself, do you know somebody within the company? When somebody comes in at RBC, they come in 3 ways. They come in as an internal applicant, an external applicant, and a referral. So they're flagged differently. I can tell if you know somebody within the company. And good people bring good people in. That's going to get my attention. So I can't stress that enough. Networking with the activities that you have, if you belong to clubs, things like that. Get to know the people there. Oh, you work in insurance? What company do you work for? Get to know them. It really goes a long way. Another way of making yourself stand out is when you are applying to a position, have a look at the posting itself. Look at the requirements. What is it that they're looking for? If you have those skills, whether they be in a role that you've held before, or maybe, it was volunteer work that you did, put that experience down in your resume. Cater your resume to the role that you're applying to. There's nothing wrong with having 5 or 6 resumes floating around. Use the same terminology that they used in that posting. That will catch the recruiter's attention. And then once you're in the company, if you want to make a move somewhere else, with a company as big as RBC, it's something that you can definitely do. But once again, it's that networking piece, getting out there to the department that interests you, do some job shadowing, things like that. Get your name out there. Because as you had said, when a position comes up, it'll be like, hey, we've got a project on the go. I remember Carol, she was in here, she was helping out a couple weeks ago. She was really good, I liked her, let's bring her in. Sometimes you'll get tapped on the shoulder to apply for a position, as opposed to waiting for that position to come up online. As far as new hires are concerned, a lot of companies, and our RBC included, has a campus department. So we do have a campus website, and this is specifically dedicated to college and university graduates. Programs that we have, training programs, positions that are available, contract positions, summer positions, and these are all catered to individuals where you're at right now.
So it's really important to have people skills. Come out of your shell, open up. Just be yourself and introduce yourself to others. Diana was my trainer when I applied for, when I moved to physical damage claims advisor position. And Diana is the one who trained me for that. It was about 3 months training, company paid training. And I was really shy. But
she
look
never
at me.
said a word in class. She was very quiet.
And look at me today, and I think I just need to come out of my shell and then just use my skills, people skills. And I had those soft skills, I guess, and people skills, but I was just not ready to open up. But now here I am today.
That the industry kind of does follow you. So those impressions are important.
Yes.
Maintaining those relationships, talking a little bit about what's changed since maybe you've known each other as well, so that those perceptions adjust appropriately and are managed appropriately. Karen and Linda, do you have anything to add around networking, or I can
just my own personal experience with that is I would say that when I was in your position that I used to think of, and we didn't call it networking, I used to think of doing that sort of activity as cheesy and just a little bit daunting. But what I found in my career is that it is so vital. Apart from the fact that I'm a hard worker, I'm a good worker, and that every employer can look back on my record and say, she does good work, you have to go far and beyond that good work. People need to know who you are. So you actually have to get up from your desk, move around, talk to people, and actually do a little bit of advertising about just how good you are, because even though you are doing good work, not everyone knows, and not everyone actually has access to that project that you last worked on. It's the people that you are interacting with that actually do that advertising for you above and beyond the networking that you do yourself. So it's really important that you get out there, talk to people, let people know what you're doing, always do that good work, yes, but you also have to do a little bit of a sell job on just how good you are.
When I look through my career, you don't realize the importance of networking, but of paramount importance is your honesty and your integrity. Your character is everything. You can network with a multitude of people, but if you don't have honesty and integrity about your character, it's a detriment. As far as networking in this industry, an example, my niece moved out to Calgary. You don't realize the impact that you have with people and the associations that you gather through the years. Moved out to Calgary, and I was able to reach out to somebody in the industry. She just graduated from university, moved out to Calgary, now has a position in the insurance industry. It is endless, the opportunities in our field. The other thing is, as a broker, networking with clients, it just gravitates to referrals. It just gravitates to referrals. The cold calling ends when people start to find out about your personality and the honesty and the integrity. You get referrals. So you don't have to go out there as hard, and it is of paramount importance that you really savor the relationships that you have with the insurance companies, with the underwriters. Through the years as well, in the recessions, I have been so fortunate not to be on the unemployment line. I have had opportunities handed to me if I wanted to go to a different province, if I wanted to go down to the States, through the networking channels that we have. It is definitely something that doesn't relate to a municipality or a city or a town or a province. You are portable. You can go from place to place.
Looking at programs offered by the Insurance Institute of Canada, so our seminars, events, things like golf tournaments, curling, convocation, our graduation ceremonies, they all require volunteers. So certainly putting your name out there, or even attending those events just to kind of get a feel for who's out there in the sector and be a part of a curling team. It's a great way to spend some time with some high-level professionals. You never know who's on that team. The brokers associations, the adjusters associations, both nationally and provincially, are certainly places that you can also start your networking process. I wanted to talk a little bit about challenge and reward in the sector.
It's nice to see that the relationships come through the years. When you're stuck in a difficult position, let's say a major claim, when you're at the end of a road, you don't know where to turn. You have to look to somebody that you can reach out to help you interpret the situation, to cut through some of the red tape. Those are the relationships that you've relied upon through the years. It's great in our industry right now where we're starting to see a lot of youth come in, young blood come into the industry. We're getting some new ideas. Drones now are an issue, so it's nice to see some of the intelligence coming in with the cyber, with computers. As far as the rewards, it's great to mentor people and see that you've become the old dog and the new pups are coming in, and it's always rewarding to see the enthusiasm and to see them kind of grow along the path that you once chose.
I think the greatest thing for me was having changed my path. I decided not to go into law. I still was able to channel my career with that interest in mind. So working within risk management within the organization, I touch on so many different legal aspects, policy wordings, and decisions that piques my interest. And I can tell you right now that I'm never bored. There's never a day where I have nothing to do and I'm twiddling my thumbs. So, and I've never been unemployed. So those are definitely the rewards for me.
For me, opportunity to learn day to day. As I had stressed about more about learning a different all chartered insurance professional courses, different whatever you want to take. Company is paying for it. That's the biggest reward, that I don't have to be out of pocket for all these expenses. Because with me, I find it taking courses, reading books. Because I'm the type of person, I feel that watching TV is not my stress release. Reading a book is my stress release. So for me, now I know that I don't have to pay for these courses, and I pass, I get paid. So this is the biggest reward for me, and opportunity to move from one department to another. There's a ton of opportunities.
Just the people. I get asked that a lot when I'm interviewing people. It's like, what do you like about your job? What is it that you like about insurance? And the number one thing I say is the people. I love the people that I get to work with, that I get to meet, whether it be interviewing, whether it be a trainer and teaching the new hires, or working on the front line and assisting insureds. When I was a claims adjuster, that relationship piece and working with people and helping people. If you like people and love working with people, then you'll definitely enjoy working in the insurance industry. I mean, as you said, you wake up in the morning and you love coming to work. Like when I finish my vacation, my husband's like, oh God, I gotta go back to work. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think the addition for me to outside of relationships is the opportunities that I've been given. I don't know of anyone who would have those opportunities if they went into another industry. I've played so many roles in a very short period of time. It's because people were willing to take a risk with me and give me a shot at things. And I think that is really fulfilling when you have that opportunity to make your day, 1-2 years doing one task, a couple of years doing another. You don't have to jump companies. You can do it within a company. And I think that diversity can make your job an interesting job. And then there's, travel, nice destinations, all sorts of other wonderful perks that kind of come with doing your job. You're still doing your job. I mean, I get up every morning and I'm still working. Doesn't matter what country I'm in. But it's nice to travel and see destinations and people and broaden your horizons a bit. And you don't always get that in other roles.
Maybe talk to a misconception in the industry, something that people maybe think about the sector that isn't necessarily true. I know for me that common misconception is that insurance companies make money off of premium, and in fact it's 89% gets paid out in claim, and that it's investments and it's the sort of being able to demonstrate our financial solvency that allows us to make money at the end of the day. What about for you? What are some of the things that are common misconceptions?
A variety of different roles you play. It's not just that's kind of I'm selling a car or home insurance. It's and the kind of like this kind of a gray suit type mentality of like what a boring task you have every day. It's way far from that. Yeah. It's very interesting, very diverse, great opportunities.
You go to a party and the first thing somebody says, what do you do? Well, I work in the insurance industry, and you can see a parting of the way, It's just like, but really, truly, it's an industry. It's never boring. I don't believe that I've had a boring day yet. Maybe falling asleep on test papers or something like that, but that's not uncommon. There's a lot that the insurance companies do, and I think that when you hear about the accidents on the 401, anyone can turn on the radio and you hear about, an accident. You look at what we came through the anniversary of 9/11. Just think of the insurance companies who are on risk. How many lost billions of dollars? Katrina. Those are all tragedies that the insurers had to come to the plate. There's a multitude of people behind every dollar that had to be paid out. It is not boring. It's challenging. It's not for the weak of heart, and it's those who want to rise up to a challenge, those who want to have an intriguing life. It is definitely for them. If you want a boring 9-to-5 mundane life, insurance is not for you. But if you want a challenge, it's great.
A lot of people are not educated about it. Our role is here to explain, to tell them that no, rate increases not because of we want to make money off them. Is because there's, as we had discussed earlier about fraud, about 9/11 case, like companies are on big risk when they are taking insurance. They're insuring buildings or anything, vehicles, they're taking a risk.
What do? You look at the way the posting was written up, use the similar terminology that the recruiter has used in the posting. That's what's going to catch the recruiter's attention. I'll spend an average of 10 to 20 seconds per resume, and then I move on to the next one. So if you've got similar terminology, if you've got the credentials that I'm looking for, if you've got certain types of skill sets that I'm looking for, that's what's going to catch my eye, and I'm going to put you over into another tier. If you've come through as a referral from somebody, if I get an email from somebody within the company saying, I know Betty, she and I have known each other for a number of years, she's my neighbor's daughter, great work ethics, I'm going to pull that resume out as well. So it's that networking piece again. And I will forward that email to the hiring manager. And the manager and I will sit down and go through all the candidates that have made that first cut. And then we'll decide who we want to bring in for telephone interviews or face-to-face interviews, things like that. But it's not going to happen overnight. And yes, there are going to be missed opportunities because it's the caliber of candidate that you're competing against. It's very, very tough out there. You're dealing with career changers. Companies are closing down, so you're competing against individuals who might have 20, 30, 40 years experience under their belt as well, right? So unfortunately, it is a game of patience, but keep on applying. That networking piece is huge. I can't stress that enough. And if your name keeps on coming through, I'll start seeing this and, oh, you know what? She is interested. Taking the CIP courses to me shows that you're genuinely interested in the insurance industry. So, okay, this person has invested some time, has invested some money into this area. Let's have a second look at her.
If you actually look at the job criteria and you notice certain things in there, they're the things you want to bold on yours. So as you're saying, we just scan it.
Yeah.
So those things stand out. They're like, oh, okay, they know this, they know this. And it depends what people are looking for at that specific time, what role needs to be filled. And that's what's important, is making sure you identify clearly what it is that they're looking for, and you try and match it as much as you can.
As much as you can. Please make sure somebody reads your resume before you send it in. Spell check doesn't catch everything. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at somebody's resume, dear recruitment manager, I'm very anxious to start working at Allstate. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll send this resume off to Allstate. If I had another candidate who was fantastic on paper, had everything I was looking for, but he also had 9 spelling mistakes in the first 2 paragraphs, I passed on him. I thought, if you can't take the time to impress me right now, what are you going to be like when you're on the floor, when you're working with an insured, when you're working with their documents and that, working on a claim? I can't take that risk.
And the cover letter on your CV or your resume may be more important as you go through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So you may get the first section, but then when it comes to me, I will read that. I want to know what you're thinking, why you think you're part of this organization, why you will fit in. So at that first stage, the relevance is because you go through so many, but you want your resume to keep going on to the next level. And so, a good cover letter is very important to, what you're capable of, who you are as a person, how you fit that role. Because if you can communicate that to me, and I need people who can communicate, then that tells me, okay, this is the person I want to talk to. And then the next step is the interview, and we see what happens after that. It is important. Keep it going.
What would be the one thing that you would say to one of the new graduates in the room about connecting to the sector? What is the core nugget or tip that you hope that they take away today? Linda?
Well, the core nugget, be yourself, be honest, have integrity, and rise to the challenge, be sociable.
Mm-hmm.
Great, a few things in there, but excellent.
Oh, wow. Definitely Linda touched on the ones that I thought were really important, but definitely you need to self-manage and be approachable and be confident without being arrogant.
True.
Hard work pays off at the end. So look for opportunities, if you're ready for challenges, go for it.
Be genuine. It's a large industry, but it is a very small industry. People know people. People talk amongst themselves. Somebody knows somebody at another company. Your reputation will follow you.
As you exit, it's as important as how you entered.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Be aware of that.
Exactly.
6 degrees of separation in our industry is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I think, know your trade. Whatever it is, whatever specific part of insurance you get into, it's technical, note, but it's very important to have good communication and soft skills. Always be yourself. Don't try to be bigger than you are, because people will see it and won't want to deal with it. be who you are, and try and bring out those parts of you that are sociable or friendly or talkative. That those characteristics are in everybody. Just try and bring them up a little notch, because that's how pretty much everyone does well. Your work speaks for you. As mentioned earlier, if you're not known within the organization, it doesn't matter how hard you're really working. Only your puppy boss or manager may know. That's it.
I'd also like to say it's also important to stay relevant. So always be forward thinking and take a look at the industry or the position that you're in and the positions around you that you're interested in, and make sure that you have your eye on possible movements so that you're always relevant. So keep up with your training, keep up with your connections and your networking.
All really great pieces of advice, and certainly from the Institute's perspective, it's remaining curious, it's asking questions, and you'll find that goes a long way in terms of asking questions, making connections, taking advantage of these types of opportunities will help you be that steer person for your own career.